Hey, now's not a good time with the lighting, but whatever. So I want to talk about how I overcame a lot of my medical conditions and how you can maybe do the same thing if you can achieve the same mindset. So who am I? Why am I qualified to speak about this? Well, I've been through 15 different medical conditions so far. And no, I'm not counting diseases like the flu because that's a disease caused by a bacteria or virus. A medical condition is a lot more serious, like arthritis and diabetes, Asperger's syndrome, being transgender, so on. Medical conditions are actually ingrained deep in your genetics or DNA. Like if we zoom in, we can see certain switches have been turned on and off in different sequences, giving you different medical conditions. So how I discovered this was I was in the middle of one of my seizures and gave up. I just said, okay, you win. I'm not gonna fight anymore. And I did that with every single medical condition. But I learned something. I didn't really surrender. I more like catered to my medical conditions. I listened to them as if they were part of me, part of my body, which actually they are. And when I stopped fighting them, it was more like I stopped fighting myself. And by doing that, I immediately had less seizures. Like they would all last minutes instead of hours, and with my sleeping problem, it would actually get kind of worse for the next year, but then it started to even out, and it was amazing. So I would preach for accepting your illnesses, even though you don't like them. You need to you need to accept this negative part of yourself, so you can accept the positive, and then accept both to get a full picture, and accept your whole self. Because now I've reached a level of self acceptance where everything is so much better. I mean, I used to have 8 or 9 medical conditions, and I think I beat 2 of them, potentially 3. But then I got cataracts from my doctor being shit again, so I went up to 7. All I remember is I went down to 6, and then back up to 7 because of her. But I don't remember if I beat 2 or 3 medical conditions with this. But I know that my sleeping problem, my eating problem, my fatigue, my seizures, 4 friggin' medical conditions that I still have all been improved vastly. It's ridiculous how much they have improved. Like, I used to have seizures on a daily basis, and now I have 1 seizure a month, perhaps. Although I'm still somewhat afraid of having seizures, so some of the things that used to trigger them, I don't do anymore, or I do them very rarely, and I know I should actually do them more. But in a sense, because I'm avoiding it as much as possible, I'm not receiving any seizures. And when it comes to my exhaustion, that's remained a little bit longer than the seizures. It's been kind of following the seizures, like the more the seizures decrease, the more the fatigue decreases. But it's always following, which is kind of strange. But it's very mild now, and it's great. But with my strange sleeping problem, right? I might go to bed at, let's say, 11 at night, and then the sleeping problem wants to kick in, so next night it's 1 o'clock, then 3, then 5, then 9, then it's 12, 3, suddenly 7, 10, 12, and oh, we're back at where we used to be. And then I might keep it there for a few weeks, and then it starts spinning forward again. Simply because I sometimes have more hours in my day than 24. Like, what can I do? All that's gonna happen is that I keep turning my clock forwards, essentially, until my body can stabilize temporarily, and then it starts all over again. But now, after over a year of trying to follow the sleeping problem, that's not happened. Like, I'm kinda in the middle of a turning process now where I've been waking up 2 o'clock in the afternoon every day and going to sleep at maybe 5 in the morning. But now I woke up naturally at 9 o'clock, and it's 10:30 now, and I feel awake enough. And I can't believe that I got out of bed almost as soon as I woke up, like 30 minutes of resting, and then I was ready to go. So I'm actually turning backwards, which is unusual for me. But it seems that my sleeping problem now allows me to actually turn back. And the thing is, I would have these problems because I'm tired, but I'm not sleepy. So I might go to bed at 11, feeling really tired, but I'm not gonna be sleepy until 1 o'clock, and that means I can't fall asleep until 1 o'clock. And then that kept moving to 2 or 3, and if I kept going to bed at 11, then I might be able to hold it back so it doesn't turn forward too much. But it was miserable. I felt like I was missing so many hours a day, and it was not good. And I would also feel very sleepy, then be awake, then sleepy, and then suddenly awake, and it would just keep going up and down like that until I would finally reach a state of tiredness so severe I felt sleepy and would stay sleepy. But often I would misjudge the wave and be like, oh, this was actually not the last tired wave, this was the second last, or the third last. And typically I've wanted to wait for the last wave. But after I listened to my sleeping problem and actually went to bed when sleepy instead of when tired, it actually changed, because now I slowly get more and more tired throughout the day. I end up sleepy, I go to bed, and stuff is amazing. I fall asleep way faster than I used to, and I don't feel like I have wasted hours. And now that I listen to my body, I can sometimes go to sleep at 5 in the morning and still turn it back. I can encourage it slightly to turn back, as long as I prioritize what my body wants before what I want. And it's fantastic. Like, I haven't turned my day-night cycle in 4 months, probably. And I used to turn this almost every month. I mean, as I said, I would have like 1 to 3 weeks where I'm normal and then it goes out of control again. But now it's been several months with full control. And it's great. I love it. Now with my eating disorder, I would dry heave when trying to swallow food that my body rejects. Like, normally you have an esophagus, right? And as you swallow, it closes at the front and works its way downwards. But when I try to swallow, it would be the opposite, where it closes from the bottom up and forces my tongue and food out of my mouth, and it's terrible. And not to mention, to even get there, I still have to fight a lot more nasty parts of the eating disorder. So typically I wouldn't even get to that stage, because I would just abandon the food before even picking it up. And I used to eat healthy after moving into this apartment, like having fish every week, or at the very least every other week, like bare minimum. And I would eat chicken at least 4 times a month, on top of that, like probably up to 6 times. But I realized that this was all tearing on me, like the vegetables, the fruits, the healthy eating. It was a chore, and it took me days to clean up, even if it was just friggin' chicken with broccoli and carrots. For some reason, it could take me 2 or 3 days to clean up what I made, and it wasn't good. I didn't feel good. So I listened to my body, and I was like, okay, what can I do that caters to the eating problem, the fatigue, and the seizures all at once? So I chose pizza. Just put it in the oven, put it onto your non-stick plate or pan, whatever the thing is called. Eat it there, and then it's very easy to clean. At worst, I have to clean the pan. And yeah, that actually worked really, really well. And it's like the last 20% to 10% of my diet that's not pizza. That's where I shove in the nutrients. But I no longer try to be healthy with half my food. I instead listen to my body, and I also ask my body, hey, is this okay? Is a box of grapes okay? And my body's like, no, so I don't buy it. But then I'm like, hey, how about blueberries? Is that okay? And it's like, yeah, I can do blueberries. So I get blueberries. So now I listen to my body. Because essentially, my eating disorder, the very simple way of explaining it is to say that any feeling or emotion I have towards food gets amplified. So disgust turns into hate, perhaps, and a slight bad taste turns into just a horrible taste. But then also a craving could turn into like a necessity, like maybe just a small want for that food could mean that I need the food. I'm not quite sure how the eating disorder works. I don't even know if a scientist has found it yet, because when I tried to self-diagnose it, I could not find enough eating disorders out there, and the ones that were there did not align with my symptoms. But yeah, turns out that I'm actually healthy despite eating a lot of pizza, but that might have to do with the pizza I chose to do it with and the nutritional value on there, which is not too crazy. And according to the blood tests I had, I had one blood test done before the diet, and I've had 2 of them done after the diet, and everything is actually good. And it started out with me checking my health in general. Vitamin D was low. Then we checked 3 months later. Everything was good, but the liver sample was too high. So a year after that, we checked again, and the liver was fine, vitamin D was fine, everything that used to be fine was fine, except for one vitamin B. So I've taken that, and soon, very soon, I'm gonna have my 4th and last blood test taken to see if the vitamin B has worked, and I think it has. And if my blood is still generally healthy, with the bad cholesterol being low, good cholesterol being in the middle, and everything else being in the middle where it should be, then fantastic. Somehow my body's running on a pizza diet where 80% to 90% of what I eat is pizza. And I don't know how, but I'm listening to my own body's cravings for now, and I'm listening to it when it says, I'm tired, I can't do this, and then I say, okay, let's do it another time. It says, hey, I don't want this food, so I'm like, okay, let's do it another time. So I'm really encouraging you to accept your medical condition, because really you are your medical conditions. If we zoom in, those genes have been turned on and off in different sequences, making you the medical condition instead of giving you the medical condition. So yeah, I really hope you can reach a level of self-acceptance as well, because it feels great. Like, I have 7 conditions, but it feels like I'm down to like 3. So yeah, so just try your best, okay? Have a good one. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.